Hello everyone, my name is Juan Martinez Aguilar and this is my video of Resources and Ict Exam. But before starting, I would like to explain you what ICT is. Well, it's known as Information and Communication Technology, the resources, programs and tools that we use to process, manage and share information. And now, let's start.
The first aspect is expert in digital pedagogical content. An expert teacher is traditionally someone who knows pedagogical knowledge, the specific content that students have to achieve in the end of the course. They also should understand how to take advantage of digital networks. Being an expert is essential because teachers possess the educational skills, know the process in the classroom, master content, is an expert in methodology, is able of having a positive relationship with family, and is sensitive with social commitments. If I were a teacher in natural science class in which I have to explain the different parts of the body, I would carry out a wide range of interactive and dynamic games, such as using a skeleton and show its parts and functions. And on the other hand, I would use cooperative learning so they would help each other and develop social skills too. Another action would be in language class, in which I would only teach how to read or write, but I would also make children the opportunity to recognize the hidden values of a simple book. It's like a new type of teaching process, guide the students to learn, not just say what they have to do. In those situations, ACAD framework would be influential. There are specific activities for different areas, tools to carry them out, and they would work as a group, so social abilities would be applied. The two elements that I would include in my personal learning environment would be the selection of what activities the teacher used to make a good work as an expert. The second element would be making a different teaching process in which the child not only learned the general content of the subject, but also learning values as important aspect in our life.
The second element is being sensitive to use technology from social engagement perspective. Teachers must have pedagogical content knowledge. They have to be aware of technological pedagogical content knowledge, which is the knowledge about how to use available technology to help students develop competencies and knowledge. Being sensitive with technology is essential because the influence that ICT has on student learning is enormous, especially in motivation, attention, attitude, and the development of specific competencies. ICTs have created an special environment in which the child operates. If I were a teacher, I would use ICT tools as augmented reality with applications like Garlopa to explain content such as animal, plants, science. In this way, a student will be able to see in 3 dimensions similarities and differences of each of the animals with respect to others. Secondly, I would use tablets as a precursor to educational change, so I allow children to search for information on the internet, collaborate with their classmates, or work with applications. The 3 dimensions of ACAD framework would be united, activities available to everyone, different tools to evaluate, and social and communication skills. To continue learning about this topic, I would include the necessary knowledge to make a good use of technologies, and I would also teach children how to use them properly, so they will improve his work. Children don't have to be like just lookers, they have to play with ICT. The third aspect is able to use ICT to expand his relation with families and learning surroundings. Family, school, and community are the three fundamental pillars that influence children. So interaction between these spheres should be coordinated for student education. ICT tools have increased the possibilities of communication between these. A perfect interaction between parents and students can favor the improvement of the child's education. In this case, ICT are essential because they allow a relationship between teacher and family, providing flexible spaces where the child can develop individually, academically, and personally, being able to communicate with the outside of their school environment. If I were a teacher in a situation where we couldn't attend class as we are currently living, I would use blogs or official pages such as Classroom to explain content, send homework, and communicate with parents about the child's evolution. In this way, teachers will be able to expand currently their relation with families and children. Continuing with the previous example, if the child has special needs for educational support like autism or Asperger, the teacher will contact with the parents through their personal email for different education work, such as relation with the audition language teacher for making specific activities. The two elements I would include in my personal learning environment would be using the perfect ICT tool and program to be able to communicate with the child family without any problem, and on the other hand, teacher would include in his homework the necessary knowledge to make a good and sure interaction with the family. The two elements that I would use to continue learning about this topic would be the situation in which we maintain a relationship with the family and how to carry out. This will ensure good interaction with the child's family. The first element is theoretical and is personal learning environment (PLE), and it's crucial to understand how the student learning process is and the process of the teacher professional development. It's the combination of tools, sources of information, connection, mechanisms, attitudes, and activities each person uses to learn. The components of PLE are reading tools, which are the sources of information people have access to, reflection tools and strategies, the platform or services in which people can transfer information, and finally social tools, online communities where people can establish relationships with others, learning from and with them. An example in which we can find this element is on our daily life. Every day we have to look for information in internet, store it for possible later use. Specifically in our case, we are studying a degree, and in all subjects we must look for information every time we have homework to do. We have to seek information through sources. We must analyze these platforms. We have to present our work orally, and we must maintain relationships between people who give us the information and allows us learning. This knowledge will be vital for our role as a teacher in the future. The second theoretical element is called ACAD, that is Activity-Centered Analysis and Design Framework, and was conceived to support both the analysis of activity within complex learning situations and forging connection between this learning activity and the task of design too. Learning tasks refer to the suggestion of things that teachers often present to students. ACAD is composed by three elements. The first one is set design, which refers to the tools, resources that introduce support of the process of learning. The second one is epistemic design, which are suggestions of what the student has to do. The last component is social design, in relation with how to work together, how to establish relations with people, different groups and roles. The example is simple. We have to imagine being a new teacher. We have to create activities to carry out with these students. We must look at how the activity should go to be productive. That is, what tools we must use, what results they have to achieve, so we establish the self-designed framework. Later, we must take into account what context is most appropriate for these students. We can identify this with epistemic design framework. Finally, we must determine what relationships are going to be carried out with this activity, if we are groups or individually. This is related to social design. The first technological element is stop motion. That is an animation technique that consists of pretending to move static objects through a succession of photographed images. Motion of the static object is built frame by frame, manipulating the object between shots. It consists of pretending the movement of said objects by conjuring frames. In each frame, the object has moved precisely, and in each new change of position, the object must always have been oriented in a direction in relation to the previous change of position and frame, saving the greatest logical continuity of the movement to be imitated. Later, by playing the frames one after the other on a screen projection creates the optical illusion that the object is moving on its own. The result is a video in which the photos take a principal part of the sequence. We could use this technique in a history class to tell about the evolution of man. We would use as many drawings as number of homos have existed to reflect the history of human beings, and we will photograph them little by little. The main objective of stop motion is to tell a story graphically, so this example reflects it perfectly. The last technological element is augmented reality. That is one of the biggest technology trends right now. It allows us to see the real-life environment right in front of us. Augmented reality, in fact, is readily available and used in many ways. In the academic field, students have the opportunity to explore the environment around them in a different way and enjoy an interactive and enriching learning process. To do so, it combines images from the real world with virtual ones to create an environment full of information that includes 3D objects, audios, videos. In this process, the skills and abilities that the student develop are important, since they foster their research and inquiry capacity, learn from the mistakes made, and construct their thoughts and ideas, approaching reality from another perspective. We could use augmented reality in natural science class. We must explain children the different types of ecosystem created. Thanks to an application installed on mobiles or tablets called Arlopa, children will be able to observe the different landscape that exists on Earth in 3 dimensions. Once the video is finished, after my effort and dedication, the mark that I consider most appropriate for my job is an 8. I've been constant in following the subject and preparing this video. I've brought dynamics and lots of ideas to my group. The most important role within the group for me is the facilitator, who is in charge of making the work of the group easier. He is the leader, he motivates the students, he cheers them up when things going wrong, he distributes tasks when time is short, he mediates when there is any danger, and he must upload all the things to the blog. In fact, there are lots of things for only one person, so it's very important. But without doubt, the most challenging role is the analyst, who is in charge of answering some questions about the situation of the group, the work, the best and wrong thing. He must evaluate each person of the group and make a reflection about each work too. Among the main elements that I have learned during this course, firstly I find the ability to adapt to circumstances. Coronavirus has changed our way of working. We have to carry out the activities online with video conferences to arrange the tasks properly. Working in group has also been a challenging aspect, but thanks to the different roles we have managed, and from the days we failed, we finally learned. We have learned from mistakes, and we are not going to repeat them again in next courses. Finally, we have used different technological tools that we would apply in our future as teachers. These resources have recently appeared, they are free, and all people have access to them. And that's the end of my video. I hope you like it. Thank you very much.